you can see, right? This stuff has multiple layers, right? Let me show you how easy this fixes. That's all your scraper is going to do for that, okay? You're left with that. That's all you're going to get off with your scraper. Now, you go to a sanding sponge or a piece of sandpaper. I'm choosing to use these. And as you can see, they are fine finish sanding sponges. Now, just after a few seconds of wiping that with my sanding sponge, you can see that the middle is almost done. All we have to do now is prime that with a sealer. So we're going to seal that. And then when it dries, we'll be able to fill this void. Obviously, if you painted that, you would see that ridge, and you need to build up the area about 1/8 of an inch or 3/16 and feather it out to about here. And then that'll be fixed. So if you know how to do this, you can do this. It's the same thing. And you have these little torn pieces of paper all over. Wallpaper removal is quite a task, especially if you're wasting a lot of time. But that's how to best do it. This happens at removing wallpaper. It also happens at removing mirrors, and you're ripping off your sheetrock paper, and you get down to the brown paper, which is just above the gypsum. And the gypsum in sheetrock is right there, that white stuff. So you can see what happens when you pull off a piece of wallpaper that gets beyond the shell to the brown paper to the gypsum. So we'll go around and treat these. I think I'm going to use an oil-based sealer on this from Kills to seal all of this up. Because you can see we have glue residue all over, and the oil will cover that very nicely. These products come in cans, and you can apply them with rollers and paintbrushes. Or it comes in a spray can where you can just spot prime. Believe it or not, that's enough for you to put your joint compound on it to start building it up and filling in that void. Well, all you're looking to do is to tack down that paper, and the oil doesn't make this paper bubble up. so the oil penetrates the paper. We'll go to the other one now. Here I was using the original, and this one I've used also as well. Excellent penetration and adhesion. It certainly does have that. Now, your whole wall might be messed up like this or like that. In that case, obviously, you would roll on your sealer, whichever one you choose to use. And in that case, I advise you to simply check out my video, Removing Wallpaper Part 1 and 2 of my recent video series that was published in July 2020. Here, I'm covering some of the same basic principles. And I'm just reposting some of the same information. I can tell you that this has a more offensive odor than the original. So that might be something you want to consider. In fact, if you come close to your screen, you can smell it right through your computer or your cell phone. Sometimes if you want to work quickly on a job and you don't want to go through the cleanup process of brush, a tray, you can do this. Okay? This is an interesting thing. They have rust here. And this will also act as a rust inhibitor as well. Let's just throw some of this on that corner there. See that? Nice. Okay. This is a great tool for all of your needs during this process of restoration. Okay. Here's another product you don't want to waste your money on. Zinsser Wallpaper Stripper. Leave this on the shelf. It's garbage. Like I said, you can spray it on if you're just spot sealing, or you can roll it on from the can. A lot of times painters will carry these spray cans in their trucks because sometimes you have something on a wall, like a child gets some colored candy on a wall, and you paint over it thinking it's going to cover, and it doesn't. And so what you do is you just put a little of this on a Q-tip and you just dab it onto the spot that's otherwise a menace. Now, like I said before, if you come close to the screen, you can actually smell this stuff right through the phone or your laptop or your iPad or whatever you're watching this video on. But you have to get close and you will smell it. So you may want to use a charcoal respirator. It's not as bad as the other one, but you can smell it. Okay, and we're going to do that to the entire wall, what you see here. And you can see, most importantly, this is the important part of the video right here. Do you see any bubbles there? No. Any there? No. What this is going to do is allow me to come by about a half an hour and just scrape any of that loose stuff off and start compounding right over it. Okay? You don't have to get everything off. This will lock that down. You see that there? It'll lock it down, and then afterwards you just come and scrape whatever remains right off of it. So on holes like this, to give it you one last, to scrape off anything loose there. And then this is not the only coat you're going to be putting on. So you fill that in. The thinner you go, the better, because it dries quicker. You're not going to get away with just doing one coat on these voids. So go thin. Don't. This would be a mistake to think, okay, I'm just going to do one coat. I'll put it on thick. That's a terrible mistake right there. Because then you have to sand all of that and bring it down. You may as well just put it on thin, let it dry. So an hour and a half later, we're letting the compound dry, and this is the result. When this gets overnight dry, you'll see that there's very little left to do tomorrow. You see those little ribs in that compound? That's from us rotating the taping knife as we applied the joint compound. And it's really just minimal tooling, as we say. We just have to put another thin coat on it, so thin that it will dry literally as we put it on that side of the wall. By the time we get over here, it will be drying. And that's it. That's really all there is to taking down wallpaper. There's a lot of confusion about it because there's a lot of misinformation about the removal of wallpaper, because there's so many things on the market with which to treat the walls before, during, and after the removal of wallpaper, the installation of wallpaper. And so this video and the previous two that I published within the last 30 days, parts 1 and 2 of removal of wallpaper, all you need to know, this really should do it. There's nothing else to know. There's nothing else to know about it. It's a simple process, and really all you need is warm water, a spray bottle, and your fingernails, because I rarely use anything other than that. Even when it's difficult, I might use a plastic smoother, which I have featured in some of my videos, particularly in parts 1 and 2 of removal of wallpaper, all you need to know. But that's it. Anybody can do this. They just need the patience to do it. Even if you don't know how to skim coat, you can do 4 coats. Put them on thin and then sand them. You can do it. Tomorrow on the next frame, we will start the next frame, and we will show you how we tool down our first and 2 layers of joint compound, which is what you're looking at drying. And then we'll be done with it. You can use whichever compound you like. Now, some professionals might say, no, there's only one to use. Well, I can tell you that if you have a weak arm, you may not want to use the green lidded ready mix. This is a blue lid. This is the lightweight, okay? Other folks might find that this is too dry. So we're going to show you, we just put a power mixer in there, stir it up to get it nice and fluffy, okay? And then, of course, this is not my preference to use a mud pan. A lot of professionals like to use them. To me, I don't like these corners. The joint compound gets stuck in them, and it drives me crazy. So I like to use a hawk, but nevertheless, any of these tools will do. So let me just show you now what our oil-based primer has done. You see it has locked down this whole wall, and you can feel it. It's a great surface over which to put your joint compound to fill in these voids. I mean, that's all we're looking to do, right? So let's do that. So to recap, we removed the wallpaper, and then we put an oil-based sealer on it, Kills. On my videos 1 and 2, from removal of wallpaper, all you need to know, I identify 4 sealers that you could use, and each one has its specialty. The one being the best, thin, but it's also the most expensive. This, I was coming back the next day. I didn't need to spend $45 a gallon to seal the glue and the little bits and pieces of wallpaper that were on the wall. Okay, so we got that sealed and we put our first layer of compound on the wall. And so today, we're just going to finish it. I'm scraping off any burrs that are on the wall. If you have a small hand, I recommend that you use an 8-inch taping knife. If you have a bigger hand or you have a small hand and you're confident with a wider knife, simply use it. This has to do with strength. This is a 14-inch taping knife, and so in order to spread the compound throughout 14 inches, if you just think about it, you need to have a lot of pressure on it. The smaller the knife, you don't have to have a lot of pressure, so your hand has to be firm and strong. So, if you're using a 14-inch knife, generally, we use 2 fingers to distribute the force of our hand throughout the entire 14 inches. You can see the compound is nice and loose. Really, if you want to give your arm a break, that's the consistency. But, you gotta make sure it doesn't fall. I'm using a trowel, which guys from the UK will love because they are the masters of plaster, in my opinion. And they love trowels. So if you bring them into the corner, just show them how I quickly clean up my corners. I get the compound in there, pull tight. Nice and tight. You can change directions of your trowel. Now, you can't get in there with a boat trowel, which is what I'm using, so you switch to a 90-degree angle blade. So you can get in there nice and sharp to the corner. Notice the angle at which I'm pulling my compound. It's almost at a 40-degree angle, which eliminates lots of lines from your trowel. I'm going to switch to my boat trowel because I'm using different muscles with this trowel. And I'm more comfortable with it. And if you're really struggling with lines and or your compound is starting to dry, a little water from a spray bottle brings it back to life, so to speak. Makes it easier for you to spread. Almost done here. And that's basically how you apply your skim coat after you've sealed your walls. And this will be the final product before you either wallpaper again or paint. But after this dries, you're simply going to seal it once again so that the wallpaper sticks, or you prime it before you paint it. And that's it. Thanks for watching my videos. Any questions, leave it in the comment section. I usually get back to you within 24 hours. Thank you. So here we are in bathroom number 2 of the same home on this wallpaper removal job. So I think the more videos you watch of the same thing, the more you become pretty much an expert, so that you can do it yourself. You see this stuff here? What do you think that is? That's glue. So there's no need to keep scraping away at it, making it airborne. Just let it dry. And then you're going to seal and lock down the glue with the sheetrock, with the brown paper. This way you can skim coat it. You give it 2 coats of skim. And then, if you're good at skim coat, you just seal over that, and then you could give it 1 more coat if you're really good at it. Make it nice and flat without sanding it. But if you're not that good, after every coat, just sand it. Make it nice and smooth. It's a little extra work for those of you who are not familiar with the skim coat process. But you can still do it. It's just going to take you a little more time. If you're good at it, give it 2 coats of skim, seal it down. I don't like dust, so then I would go around to see if I need any more skim coat, and I would just put a thin layer on top of the last one, and then it's ready to be sealed, primed, and then painted. So we're at the final phase. Look at the beauty. Just show them the beauty of this wall. Now, you'll be unfair to yourself and to your customer if you don't use a light. Okay? Now, let me take away the light. Can the viewer see this line without you going on top of it right here? See that? Yeah. They can't really see it, but with a light, look at the light, what the light does. You see how the light shows that line up? Okay, so the point is made. Now, you don't want dust. Okay, so a little water, a little wet sanding, and you're done. Enough with this dust, folks. You don't want dust. Your customer doesn't want it. If you want to get jobs quickly and be known on the internet and in your community, hey, this guy does it without dust. This is what you do, all right? So first of all, you got to know how to skim coat well. Practice on your wall. Go in your house, practice on a wall. Get a bucket of joint compound, become proficient at it. Now, sponges are great because it loads with water. So now we're reactivating the compound because we have a little too much on the wall. Instead of sanding it, I shave off the extra, right? And then, now show them the line, Scott. Show them the line that doesn't exist anymore. This is where our line was. You can just back up a bit. And now it's gone. And look, that's all you're going to do. Let's do it one more time for them, and then they can decide for themselves how they're going to do it. A little of a dry tool here. This is called tooling your joint compound. This is wet sanding. Remember, my sanding sponge is soaking wet. Okay, I put that under water. So it's not going to be making dust. We don't want dust. You're just going over it lightly, looking with your light, because your eyes cannot see in general lighting what your eyes can see with this heavy duty light on it, okay? So you want to get your light because you're a professional and you want to do a good job, right? Remember, there's no need to have dust all over the place. When I started this so many years ago, I would tell my customers, they'd say, oh, it looks beautiful. I said, don't look close until you have a glass of wine, you know, because, you know, that would help me get out the door after I got paid. I'm only kidding. But you get the idea. Wet sand, reduce your dust, and finish your job. Okay, folks, just take a look at that. That's wet sanded. That's ready to go. Okay, if you have any questions about the process, please leave a question or a comment below. Thank you. And this is the final product. This now gets sealed, primed, and painted. Beautiful finish. All right. This is, you see the wet spots, we just tweak the final product. We add on by just skimming over it with what we call a touch-up. So we just touch up the final product. And now it's completely ready for the painter to come in and paint. Let's go to the other bathroom. This is bathroom number 2, the smaller bathroom. I'm very happy with the product. Unfortunately, you can't see the fine detail of the perfection. But just to give you an idea, look at that corner. Okay, that had wallpaper on it. It was all messed up. And now you're looking at perfection. Okay? That's how you do it. And even if you weren't good at it, just do it. Take your time. And you can do this. Okay? Any questions about this process? Proportions to use? On mixing? You let me know in the comments section. Thank you for watching my videos, and we'll see you on the next one.